So unfortunately, this is a slightly different video this time. I haven't prepared anything. I haven't put together anything. It's literally just on the back of waking up this morning and seeing the very horrible news that Eddie Jordan passed away this morning at his home in South Africa at the age of 76, off the back of suffering from bowel and prostate cancer. And it's really just a huge loss. And I think it's worthy just jumping on a video like this and not really having anything prepared and literally just to give you what the whole thinking is. And it is a huge loss for Formula One on the whole, because Eddie came at a time in 1991 where he started the Jordan Grand Prix team off the back of nothing. And created one of the most iconic cars of all time. Of course, introduced Michael Schumacher to the sport as well. And he was just one of these most fantastic underdog characters in Formula One. He never had this enormous backing. He never had this enormous multinational monster of a Formula One team. It was literally his name above the door at all times at Jordan, and the buck stopped with him, and he just carried it through and fought through the 90s and early 2000s, and it's a massive legacy that lasts, that will go on. Now that he's gone, it'll go on forever and ever and ever. And there's fantastic interviews and stories. Check out David Coulthard's podcast he did with Eddie, where there's just endless catalogue of hilarious and funny and interesting stories. It's brilliant, and I highly suggest you watch it. But yeah, it's difficult to find the words to say. I'll never forget, I think it must have been at the beginning of the 1998 season, where me, my dad, and my brother, I must have been 9 or 10 years old. We were on the way back from somewhere in the absolute pissing rain, going past Silverstone, and we thought, oh, we're near the Jordan factory. Let's go have a look. So we go to the Jordan factory, and the gates open, and we're like, let's go into the car park. And we go into the car park, and we thought, should we have a look inside? Anyway, we go in, me, my dad, and my brother. My brother's 2 years younger than me. And the warm welcome I'll never forget from just such a young age. It was absolutely amazing. I'd been an F1 fan for, 3 or 4 years already. But it wasn't like today where they're like security ID passes, you can't be here, get out restricted and all this. The receptionist was there, was lovely. And my memory is that someone came out and showed us around the Jordan car that was sitting in the reception. And it must have been quite a quiet day, but someone just said, would you like a tour around the factory? And absolutely, we said yes. And it was to be a young boy and having a look around the factory was just something I'll never forget, because you go and see all the inner workings, which was so hidden away. There's no internet or anything like that at the time, so you don't really have access to that sort of thing. But just to see all the cars taken apart and all this sort of thing was amazing. And it sounds silly, but no one was there at the time. All the team must have been away somewhere. But I actually got to go up to where Eddie's office is, and the lady that was showing us around asked me would I want to go and sit in Eddie's chair, and of course I said yes. And I went and sat in Eddie Jordan's chair. And for a young kid, that was absolutely amazing. Wonderful, wonderful memory. And considering what he did with the resources he had at hand, I know we talk about team bosses like Frank Williams, Enzo Ferrari, Colin Chapman, Ron Dennis. Eddie's got to be up there, definitely. Considering the resources he had at hand, what he tried to do in Formula One, where he came from and everything. It was... And having an Irish family myself, having family back in Cork and everything, to be represented by an Irish team on the grid was something amazing, and having all my uncles being part of the club and them all supporting Jordan. We were a big Jordan family back in the day. It was absolutely amazing. And sorry about the ums. I haven't, like I said, I haven't scripted anything. I haven't put anything together. This is literally off the cuff because I think that's probably the best way to deliver it. But he does. He needs to get, I think, the credit that he's due, considering what he put together. And I think it's well worth, if you can get a hold of it, get Eddie Jordan's biography and read it, because the stories and everything in there is absolutely amazing. For years, I worked in advertising at motorsport magazines, motorsport news, autosports, and then later another company, Octane magazine, and things like that. And there are times when you're dealing with advertising and clients, and you kind of get a bit down and unsure of yourself, and you kind of think, what am I doing here? Reading Eddie Jordan's biography and looking at how he did deals and the motivation he did and the drive he had, it was such an inspiration to just get out there and get on with it with just confidence. So even that was a massive, massive source of inspiration for me later on in life, But yeah, where we are now, I've just got the news page of him here. Yeah, it's so tragic. And I hope later, there will be some sort of documentary, or maybe, even a movie made. I mean, it's well worth this sort of thing being put into some sort of thing so people can know more about him. I mean, what do you say at times like this? I don't really know. It's so difficult it's part of me kind of maybe accepted this was coming, but part of me also hopes that he would recover, because he was in talk about doing something with London Irish Rugby Club as well. And yeah, it's another sad time where an era of Formula One, particularly the 90s and early 2000s, is gone. That connection, I suppose, is gone forever. We're kind of getting to this age now where we're starting to lose a lot of great people, particularly from previous eras, and it's sad and everything, but that's just the way the world goes. This is how things develop. But yeah. But there's a legacy, of course. The legacy is today Aston Martin Formula One team. Without Eddie's work and what Eddie persevered through and pushed through and what he fought for and everything, there'd be no Aston Martin Formula One team now. Because, of course, Jordan went to Spiker, Midland, Force India, Racing Point, and got a bit slippery there. But then eventually Aston Martin. So that's the legacy there. And of course the factory's been knocked down now and it's all changed. And they've got this very slick Aston Martin factory now. But that's the legacy there. Without Eddie's work and what he did and sacrificed and what he built, there'd be no Aston Martin Formula One team now. So yeah, it's difficult to decide what to say, but maybe come the China Grand Prix this weekend, let's just hope. Let's give a little bit of more support, I think, to Aston Martin, because somewhere inside that giant green corporate thing they've got now, there's Jordan DNA in there. What Eddie's done is in there still. And of course, he's responsible for doing the Adrian Newey deal as well with Aston Martin, which was fantastic. And it was stunning to see that he was still in there involved doing that. It was such a surprise, but you wouldn't have blamed him for doing that. If you had to think of someone who would be still in there doing deals and everything, even at his age, 75 or 76 when he did that deal, It's absolutely amazing. But yeah, what a shock. Um, and it'd be great to hear what you guys think. If you guys have any memories of Jordan and your experiences with the team and everything, and if you were a fan, it'd be great to hear from you. Let me know in the comments and everything below. So yeah, I suppose we knew this time was coming, and now we all just need to just remember the good times, remember the fantastic team, remember the stories. I mean, he's left a string of amazing, beautiful looking cars behind him. The 191, the 7 Up Jordan as well. Um, the the if the whole thing of the Benson Hedges Jordans where the nose of the car was a snake or a hornet or a shark or whatever, that whole thing is Jordan. No one else in F1 can do that now, because if they did, everyone would saying you're just ripping off Jordan. So yeah, so like I said, I don't really have a script, or I haven't got anything prepared, so I don't really have any way to prepare an ending for this, but I guess it's just important to say, Eddie, you'll be massively missed by myself. And you played a massive part in me being and becoming an F1 fan, even from such a young age. Oh, and I might add, actually, I forgot to say, when we did that tour of the Jordan factory years ago, once we'd gone around all the facilities and everything, me and my brother were each presented with a huge bag full of Jordan F1 goodies. You know, we had caps and sign stuff and stickers and bits and pieces and key rings and keychain. And it was just, I miss that kind of warmth, I suppose, that honest kind of warmth that F1 teams showed regular fans, not just wealthy fans who pay thousands for a VIP package, but just everyday people who just walk in the door and show curiosity. And they respected that and they rewarded it, and it's something that will stick with me forever. So yeah, but yeah, overall, the stories. Remember, Eddie, it's an enormous loss. We're all still kind of dealing with it and everything, and we'll have the stories and memories and legacy to have later and later on. Tell our kids and grandkids all about it and everything. So anyway, guys, let me know in the comments of any stories or anything that you've had and how you're feeling about this. And yeah, thanks for listening. Cheers.